The question we hear more than any other at events, on our phone line, and under any video we put out is some version of this one. $150,000 for a travel trailer? Are you serious? I want to answer that question today, fully, on camera, inside the only Bowlus showroom in the country, which is right here in Santa Barbara. I'm not going to sell you a trailer, but I am going to open one up. We'll walk through what is inside a Bowlus piece by piece, put a real number on every major part, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly where the price comes from. And you can decide for yourself whether it's worth it. A few weeks ago, I read a piece in the New York Times about what is actually inside a can of premium house paint. The writer pulled a gallon of top-tier paint off the shelf next to a gallon of hardware store paint and broke down each ingredient by weight and cost. Pigment, resin, solvent, the kind of labor that goes into grinding titanium dioxide to the right size particle. By the end of the article, the premium paint no longer felt expensive. It felt fair. This is the video I'm making for Bowlus, because when you look at a travel trailer from 40 feet away, it looks like a travel trailer. But when we break down every decision, you can see why the Bowlus costs what it does. So let's open one up. Before we start, the pricing I'll reference today comes straight from our website as of this week. Our Rivet starts at $150,000. Our Endless Highways starts at $185,000. Our Endless Highways Frontier Edition starts at $256,000. Those are the numbers. Now let me earn them. Why lightweight is inherently more expensive. I want to start with a counterintuitive idea because it is the one most buyers have never heard stated plainly. A lighter trailer costs more to build than a heavier one. When most of us think about a well-made object, we think about heft. A heavy pan feels like quality. A heavy door feels solid. In lots of categories, more mass does mean more material, and more material means more money. RVs and travel trailers do not work that way. Neither does automotive. To make a trailer lighter, you cannot simply remove parts. Every pound still has to do the same job it did before. The roof still has to be sealed. The frame still has to hold the trailer together at highway speeds. The wall still has to keep you warm in 20-degree weather and cool on a Mojave afternoon. What lighter means in engineering terms is this: every single material in the trailer has to do more work per ounce. That means higher grade alloys. That means thinner walls held to tighter tolerances. That means more engineering time per part. That means more inspection before the part goes into the trailer. That also means higher wood costs. Let me give you one concrete example. The skin of a Bowlus is 2024 T3 all-clad aircraft grade aluminum. It is roughly twice as strong pound for pound as the 3000 series alloy used in other aluminum travel trailers on the market. 2024 T3 costs more. It's harder to source, harder to form, and harder to rivet. If I used 3000 series aluminum, my material build would be significantly lower. My build time would be faster, but my travel trailer would weigh several hundred pounds more. Every shortcut on materials makes an RV cheaper and heavier at the same time. We refuse to take that shortcut because one of the key performance features of a Bowlus is that it can be towed by something you already own and towed with ease. Same story for the frame. Our space frame is TIG welded by hand at our manufacturing facility in Oxnard, California. TIG is slower than MIG. A MIG weld is what you see under most RV chassis, and it is perfectly fine for a frame that is already heavy enough to absorb vibration through mass. A TIG weld is cleaner, stronger per unit of weld, and lets us build a lighter frame without sacrificing stiffness. The welding is slower. The welder costs more. The outcome is a Bowlus that your SUV can actually pull. So, why does any of that matter to you as an owner? Because when a Bowlus Endless Highways sits at around 4,000 pounds loaded versus a comparable length aluminum travel trailer at over 8,000 pounds, 3 big things change in your life. First, your tow vehicle can be something you already own or provide the most choices of what you may want to use as your tow vehicle. 2, the locations you can access open up. 3, your driving experience changes. Take, for example, your handling on a crosswind day at highway speeds. It's calmer because a lower center of gravity combined with less mass performs dramatically better. 4, your fuel economy or your EV range is optimized. Lightweight is not a marketing word for us. It is a cost center. It is where a significant chunk of your purchase price goes, and I want you to know that up front. The shell. Come with me around the exterior. What you're looking at here is not a panel bolted to a frame. This is a true monocoque structure. The shell and the frame work together to carry the load, the way an aircraft fuselage does, which is not a coincidence. Holly Bowlus, who built the original riveted aluminum travel trailer in 1934, also built the fuselage for the Spirit of St. Louis, as well as numerous other sailplanes and aircrafts. The lineage is real. Every rivet you see on this trailer is set by hand. These are structural aircraft rivets. An aircraft rivet is solid through and through. It will not back out, it will not corrode around the mandrel, and it will still be holding this panel in place 90 years from now, which is not hypothetical because Bowlus trailers from the 30s are still on the road today. No other RV manufacturer makes a structural riveted aluminum monocoque trailer. The shape is incredibly aerodynamic. Why should you care about this? Because it makes driving more pleasant and hugely safer. Something you don't think about until after the purchase, but you'll be spending a lot of time towing. So it's important to be safe and enjoyable. 70% of all the parts in the Bowlus are made by us in our facility in Oxnard. That number is not a slogan. It allows us obsessively tight control over our quality. It also means every single Bowlus made part is stamped with an internal part number. That is unique to this industry. If you own a 2026 Endless Highways and a wall needs to be replaced in year 10, we can look at that etched stamp and pull the exact part. No guessing about fit, no generic adapter required, no forum threads titled, "What replaces the thing with the thing?" The parts we do not make ourselves, we source from the marine and yacht world, not the RV world. The RV supply chain is built around price. The marine supply chain is built around saltwater, constant flexing, and the expectation that a 30-year-old boat is still in the water. Those parts cost more, but those parts also last longer. Before any Bowlus goes out the door, it clears a 252-point final inspection. Just that inspection takes hours per trailer. It is where quality is confirmed, and it's one of the reasons our warranty ticket rate is as low as it is and why our customers hold on to their Bowlus for decades. Why quality is inherently more expensive. Let me make the same argument I made about weight, but this time about quality, because it works the same way. Quality does not come from wanting it. It comes from slowing down, from measuring more often, from rejecting parts that almost passed, and from people paying attention enough to care whether the job is done right. Every one of those choices costs real money per trailer. When an RV manufacturer is building 40,000 units a year at a public company pace, the math tells them to speed up the line. That's not a moral failure on their part, that's the math. If your shareholder expects a certain margin and your line is running at a certain speed, the only lever left is to reduce inspection and accept more defects in the field. The warranty work gets absorbed across the dealer network, which is another reason the dealer network exists in the first place. Bowlus is privately held. We sell directly from our Santa Barbara showroom, our one and only sales location. We have no dealer network because we do not want the inherent problems that come with one. We have a mobile service network that visits our owners anywhere in North America, and our factory service center is in Oxnard. We have 24/7 product support and roadside assistance. That support structure is included in the price of every Bowlus, even though most manufacturers do not think of it that way because their business model is predicated on supporting their dealer network. You're not buying a trailer and then entering into a relationship with a third party for the life of that ownership. You're buying an RV with a direct line to the people who built it, the chassis and the wheel. This is where I get to the most spirited objections at shows, so let us handle it head on. People see one axle and assume the trailer is underbuilt. The opposite is true. Axle count is a function of load. You put on a second axle under a trailer when the first axle cannot safely carry the weight. A Bowlus Rivet has a gross vehicle rating of 3,500 pounds. An Endless Highways sits between 4,000 and 4,400 pounds depending on options. Other aluminum trailers of comparable length are over 8,000 pounds loaded. Tongue weights matter too. If your RV has a very high tongue weight, you'll be able to tow it with very few vehicles. At our weight, one axle is the right engineering answer. Two axles would add unnecessary weight, increase tire scrub on turns, introduce another failure point, and reduce interior space. A single axle on a correctly loaded trailer also handles better. It does not fight you in tight turns, it does not sway the way a double axle trailer can when crosswinds hit, and because it carries less mass overall, it's kinder on your tow vehicle's brakes and transmission. We have designed the Bowlus for off-pavement exploration with a monocoque body and no exposed underbelly. Additionally, our ground clearance exceeds that of most SUVs. Our adventure package extends that further with a 3-inch lift and all-terrain tires. This is the package that turns the Bowlus into something you can actually take up a Forest Service road without worrying about ground clearance. In part because of the lightweight and low tongue weight, we've been able to pioneer self-propelled RVing. AeroMove is a fully remote-controlled, self-powered, self-propelled drive system that lets you park or move the Bowlus without a tow vehicle. It handles grades up to 25% and performs a 360-degree rotation in place. If you've ever tried to back a trailer into a narrow campsite at night after a long drive, you'll understand exactly what this system is for. Now, come explore the power system with me. This is another part of the Bowlus where the cost story gets louder because most dealers charge separately for battery systems. In 2016, we became the first OEM RV manufacturer to ship a travel trailer with lithium iron phosphate batteries. The industry is now catching up. Lithium iron phosphate is the chemistry you want for a travel trailer because it is the safest lithium chemistry on the market. It handles thousands of cycles without meaningful degradation, and it holds voltage under load in a way lead-acid chemistries cannot. We offer 3 tiers. Standard is a 3.8 kilowatt-hour system, which will run your Bowlus for about a week off-grid without solar, assuming reasonable use. Off-grid Power Package 1, which moves you to 11.5 kilowatt-hours and adds 400 watts of aero solar array on the roof. Off-grid Power Package 2 moves you to 19 kilowatt-hours with the same 400-watt solar array. A 3,000-watt pure sine wave inverter runs 120 volts in this travel trailer. That includes air conditioning, the induction cooktop, and the microwave. You don't need to run shore power to run a Bowlus. You can plug into a standard 15-amp household outlet and recharge from 20 to 90% in about 3 hours with our base battery configuration. So why is this system so expensive? 2 reasons drive the cost. First, the cells themselves are not cheap and we do not skimp on capacity. Second, the integration work behind the cells, the inverter, the solar controller, the battery management system, and the 120-volt loads, that integration is what separates a safe, usable off-grid travel trailer from a pile of parts that cook themselves at 10,000 feet in August. We spent years calibrating that integration. It is protected firmware, thermal management that actually works, and a set of safety interlocks that prevents the kind of failures you've probably read about in other brands. We've selected our power systems from the marine world, not the RV world. We've already spoken about why we do this. Here's the comparison I give to people shopping with us versus other aluminum travel trailers. Our off-grid Power Package 2 system, which runs hydronic heating, draws about 1.9 amps per hour. A blown air heating system in other aluminum travel trailers draws closer to 7.5 amps per hour. That difference is between 30 days of comfortable off-grid camping and about 12 hours before you reach for a generator. If you bought a Bowlus for nothing else, if you only cared about having a luxury hotel room that works anywhere on the continent, the power system alone earns a significant chunk of that sticker. Real wood, real materials. I want to talk about the interior, and I want to start with the wood because it's what everyone who walks in here touches first. The wood you're looking at is real birch or walnut. It's not a vinyl wrap. It's not a photograph of wood laminated onto plastic. It is the actual species, cut, finished, and installed in the Bowlus. The woods we use were chosen because they are dimensionally stable across temperature swings, take a marine finish beautifully, and age in a way that looks better in 10 years than it does even today. The per square foot cost difference between real birch and a vinyl wood print on a particle board substrate is significant, and there is a lot of square footage inside a travel trailer. We pay that bill because the particle board swells when it gets wet, off-gasses for the first few years of life, and looks tired after a few seasons. Particle board should only be in IKEA furniture, not high-end RVs. Real birch does not do any of those things. Birch does not off-gas either, which matters if you're going to sleep inside this cabin for a few hundred nights a year. Every interior panel in this trailer is screwed, not glued. That's a choice we make for a specific reason. If you glue an interior panel to a wall and you have a leak or a worn out part behind it, you have a demolition job on your hands. If you screw it in, you simply unscrew it. Owners can refresh, repair, or upgrade any part in the interior without destroying a Bowlus. That is what built to last actually means in practice. The cost of screws instead of glue is measured not in the fasteners itself, but in the engineering time required to make every panel a discrete, repairable unit. That time is in the sticker. The bed is king-sized and splits into twins in under a minute without tools. The flexible bedroom system is worth it for future flexibility. Additionally, the bed has its own room and has a fully insulated door. The bath is an ensuite with a hotel-grade shower head powered by a 25,000 BTU hydronic heating system that provides continuous hot water so your shower doesn't end because the trailer ran out of warm water. 8 silent radiators circulate hydronic heat throughout the cabin, including under the floor, which provides a very different feel from the blown air systems you find in almost every other RV at this length. The Epicurean package, which is its own line item, adds a 3-in-1 convection oven, convection microwave, and air fryer, a 12-volt drawer fridge, a spice rack, and a dedicated galley drawer system. Cooking in this trailer is not camp cooking. It is a well-designed kitchen that happens to be on wheels. The things we leave out on purpose. I promised I would tell you what is in a Bowlus and what is not, because the not is almost just as important as the in. We do not build slide outs, and that is on purpose. A slide out is a box that extends out of the side of the wall to add floor space when you're parked. They are standard in this price range in other brands. We do not build with them. Slide outs add 3 failure points: the motor, the seal, and the alignment. They require level ground to deploy. They are one of the most common warranty issues in the RV industry, and they are structurally incompatible with a monocoque design, which is part of why this trailer is as strong and as weather sealed as it is. Our door is on the front, not the side. That is a deliberate choice. A front door opens into a wider opening so your paddle boards, skis, and kayaks actually fit through it. The interior geometry opens up when you put the door on this short end rather than the long end. And at a rest stop, you're stepping out facing your tow vehicle, not into highway traffic. You see many RVs adding rear hatches to attempt to have the same functionality as a front door. The costs no one prices in. The parts most buyers do not consider at the point of purchase is the cost over the next 20 years. Bowlus of Santa Barbara is our exclusive sales location. That is the only place in the world where you can buy a new Bowlus. Service is handled in 2 ways: our factory service center in Oxnard and our mobile service network, which travels to our owners. There is no dealer in between. That relationship delivers a valuable dollar proposition, and it is baked into the Bowlus price. You're not just buying hardware, you're buying a relationship with the company that built it, with internal part numbers on every piece we made, with a warranty that runs 3 years, with 24/7 product support and roadside assistance that keeps your Bowlus as capable in year 10 as it was in year 1. That makes your life easy. One practical note before we wrap: if you're buying a Bowlus for business travel, talk with your tax professional about Section 179 and 100% bonus depreciation, which came back into effect in January 2025. The tax treatment of a qualifying Bowlus can be meaningful. I'm not your accountant, so please do not take that as advice, but it's worth a conversation with someone who is. Here is what we have added up today, and here is why the sticker is what it is. You're paying for a shell made of aircraft-grade aluminum, hand-riveted to a TIG-welded monocoque space frame, built entirely in-house in California. You're paying for a power system that makes a Bowlus livable anywhere on the continent, including unlimited time off-grid, which was the first of its kind in the industry 10 years ago, and that is still the best in class today. You're paying for real birch interior with hydronic heated floors, a continuous hot water system, yacht-grade plumbing and electrical fittings, and panels you can unscrew and service yourself or through our mobile service network. You're paying for a self-parking drive system. You're paying for the performance you dreamed of when you decided to go RVing, one that lets you explore almost anywhere with low effort and low stress. That combination of performance, quality, and longevity is the thing we want you to walk away with. Performance, because a Bowlus tows behind cars you already own and keeps more than 70% of an EV's tested EPA range. And most importantly, you arrive completely full at your campsite. Quality, because every material, every weld, every fastener was chosen to do more than the job you actually needed it to do. Longevity, because Bowluses built in the 1930s are still rolling today. And the one you buy today is engineered to be part of that same story a half century or more from now. Now, one more note. Bowlus is not the most expensive RV, and when you stack us up against other aluminum travel trailers of comparable length, the actual premium runs around 4 to 14%. That's the entire gap. For under 5%, you get a trailer that weighs roughly half as much loaded, that uses aircraft-grade aluminum, that integrates a lithium iron phosphate power system most brands charge separately for, that tows behind the SUV you already own in your driveway, and that is built to still be on the road a half century from now. The price difference people imagine and the price difference that actually exists are two very different numbers. I hope you'll agree that $150,000 delivers more value than any other RV. If you want to experience a Bowlus for yourself, come see us in Santa Barbara, book a personal virtual event, or check out our events. If you can't travel, leave any questions in the comments. I read them all and will answer the best ones on camera in a follow-up. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.